Just want to start by talking about these two widows in the first reading and the gospel. We're meant to connect them, but we just want to understand their situation so we can appreciate the significance of what is going on here. Widows in this time, of course, this is a time without any kind of government welfare. There's no social security or anything like that. And once their husband has died, the options for employment, to make money, are extremely limited. So to be a widow in the world that Jesus and the prophet Elijah live in is to be in an extremely insecure place. So these women, more than others, they have more reason to keep what they have and not to give it more than others. Because already they don't have enough for themselves for the day, let alone for tomorrow. Actually, both of these widows know that after they give what they give, there is no more. There's nothing after this. So these two, and I'm thinking especially of the widow in the first reading, these women could say probably without lying. When Elijah asks, would you bring me a bit of bread? She could say, I have nothing to give you. It would be maybe a little bit of exaggeration because she tells the truth. She has like a little left, but she could probably say without lying, without deceit, I have nothing to give you because I need what I have. Both of these widows, they also have these three obstacles. There's fear, certainly, because they have very little and they don't have anything else after this. There's also, I think, there can be some shame, too, especially for the widow in the gospel. There's all these people in front of her, rich people who are putting in great sums of money in the treasury, and she only has these 2 coins. And if she compares herself, she might say, I will look like a fool if I put these in. So maybe I just won't even do that. Somebody will notice how poor I am. So there's fear, there's shame, and they are not only poor, but they're widows. So they have both gone through the death of their husbands. They have both gone through something that could have shattered their trust in God and brought them to believe that God will not take care of them because apparently he didn't before, and so they have to take care of themselves. And so with all this in the background, these two widows give what they have anyway, without assurance of the future. She gives the last of her food, and she gives the last of her coins. And it's Jesus' eagle eyes that spot what is like apparently insignificant. So initially, this homily was going to be about trusting God. Doesn't that sound like a good theme for today, reading about these widows and their generous response? And you can really go places with this, because in the first reading, actually, like we heard, not only is this widow and her son fed for a year, but if you keep going, a little later, her son gets very sick. And Elijah, the prophet, is living with them, with the food that they have. Her son gets very sick and actually dies. And Elijah raises him from the dead. So her son would have died and not been raised from the dead if she did not give the little that she had and God didn't provide for her. So there's all kinds of good reasons to talk about trust. And it's easy for us to relate to the widows too, because there are people here who have gone through the death of their spouse or the death of others in their lives, family and friends, people very close to them. Or we can relate to them in their financial difficulty. Maybe we can relate to them kind of like we can live with the jar of hope running dry or our hearts being empty. But actually, I don't want to talk about any of that. I want to talk about something else. I want you to put your attention on Jesus in the gospel. You just want to look at him. And this is like during the homily, but throughout all the Mass and later today. Pay attention to his eyes and his attention and his heart. He's sitting in the temple. He's looking at the temple treasury and people putting their offerings into it. As we look at him, we want to look not to analyze like a spreadsheet of data or consume like social media or the news. Instead, we want to look contemplatively, to gaze, and be ready to receive what is revealed to us. So this is like the same sort of look that we give to a beautiful scene like mountains, or the kind of look that parents give when a baby is sleeping in their arms, and you just look at the child. You know, it's not analytic, it's contemplative, it's receptive and restful. It actually is no work. And if you do it, then you might find yourself getting a little bit sleepy because your mind is at rest. And that's fine, that's good. The mind rests while the heart watches and is open to receive. So Jesus is here beholding this scene at the collection box in the temple. We want to notice his eyes and his face, see what we can tell about his mind and his heart. I don't know how long he watches all of this, but then something happens, and he notices the widow and her 2 small coins. And her action, her life, affects him. It moves him to share it and to draw our attention to her. So this is what I want to preach: the movement of Jesus' heart. As we watch, Jesus is moved, and that moves me. And what affects him, the goodness and trust and beauty of the widow, what affects him, will it affect me in the same way? There is a gift that is given to us, and this holy saving gift for us to receive from God today is something that words can't do the job. And we see the limits, actually. If I try to put it into words and to give it to you like that, then you'll get something else. Your mind will grasp something, but it won't be the fullness of the gift. And that's why we're trying to look contemplatively at this. Because the words that we use, they can point to the gift. This is what I'm trying to do. They can point to the gift, but words can't deliver it to us. And so the heart can receive it by means of something else, something that has more depth, more capacity, and more strength than words. Jesus' attention, his gaze, is the lesson. And Jesus' hidden interior that he reveals to us through his words is the gift.